Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, I want to share a story about three people, three different paths, and their unique quests for happiness. Tieu Huyen, a strong mother who faces life's challenges head on, never backing down even when the storms try to pull her under. Her daughter Maya shares that same spirit, but with a sweet heart and a soul full of promise, the future in the making. But in the middle of it all, there's one person who's still struggling with a deep, unhealed wound. Day, a young man who lost his love and is now desperately searching for something that seems to have slipped away with time. Will he find the love he lost, or will he forever drift in the sea of old memories? This story isn't just about love. It's a journey of rebirth, of resilient hearts and dreams that never fade. It was one of those peaceful mornings where the early sunlight gently filtered through the leaves, casting warm golden streaks across the narrow path. The sound of birds singing their cheerful songs echoed in the air, as if welcoming the new day with a melody of hope. While the world around him buzzed with the usual hustle and bustle, Dee walked briskly, his heart heavy with the weight of the past. He wasn't focused on the busy streets or the people around him. He had one mission on his mind: to find Tieu Huyen and her daughter Maya. Today, he decided to travel further to a distant market in another town where he had heard they might be. His clothes were worn, and his old helmet was a testament to his long journey, but his determination kept him moving. His legs never grew tired. His resolve never wavered. Even if I have to walk to the ends of the earth, I will find you. He thought to himself. The images of Tieu Huyen and Maya burned clearly in his mind, like a light in the darkest night. He couldn't forget the moment they entered his life, the joy, the warmth, and the unexpected connection. And he couldn't accept the reality of losing them, the thought that they might be gone forever. He approached a man selling vegetables at a roadside stall. The man looked up as Dee approached, and their eyes met for a brief moment. Dee's heart swelled with hope, and he asked with a quiet urgency, "Excuse me, sir. Have you seen a young woman with a small child? She has a basket on her shoulder, and they were seen around here somewhere." The man looked back at him with a blank expression, his face almost unreadable. He slowly shook his head. "I'm sorry, I haven't seen anyone like that. Lots of people pass through here every day, but I can't say I remember seeing them." Dee's heart sank. The man's words hit him harder than he expected. Each rejection felt like a dagger twisting deeper into his chest, but he couldn't stop. His search was far from over. Every no, every dead end only pushed him forward. As he sat down on the side of the road to take a break, his mind wandered back to the days he had spent with Tieu Huyen. He remembered the sound of her voice, the way her laughter filled the air, the way she had looked at him with a mixture of hope and vulnerability. Those were the days he held on to when everything else seemed to slip away. He remembered the quiet moments they shared, the unspoken bond between them. Those memories, once vivid and sharp, now felt distant and hazy like old photographs that had faded with time. "Huyen, where are you?" he whispered to himself. In the stillness, his voice raw with emotion. The quiet echoed back, but there was no answer. It was as if the universe itself had turned its back on him. He felt the weight of his loneliness, the ache of missing her, and he couldn't help but shout into the empty air, "Where are you, Huyen?" His voice cracked with desperation. The silence around him was deafening, as if the world had frozen waiting for an answer that would never come. He didn't know how much further he would have to go, or if he would ever find her. But one thing was certain: he would never give up. He couldn't. Not now. Not when every part of him still believed she was out there somewhere. Dee stood up, wiping the dirt from his pants. He looked down the road ahead, a long path stretching out in front of him. It seemed endless, like a journey without end. But he had no choice. He had to keep going. His heart, though heavy with sadness, was determined to keep searching. Even if he had to walk the world one step at a time, he would keep looking for Tieu Huyen and Maya. The memories, the hope, and the love he had for them were the only things that kept him moving forward. He took a deep breath and began walking again, his steps steady, unwavering. Because despite everything, he still believed he would find them. And nothing, not even the pain of rejection or the passage of time, could take away that belief. After spending the entire day searching every corner of the town, Dee's feet were sore, but he couldn't bring himself to stop. He had asked countless strangers, hoping for some hint of where Tieu Huyen and her daughter Maya might be, but it felt like they had disappeared, swallowed up by the fast-paced rush of life. As the sun began to set, the weight of his frustration grew heavier, and there was only one place left to go, back to the small house on the outskirts of town where his friend Adam was waiting for him. The house was simple, almost bare, with just the essentials: the flickering light from a small lamp cast shadows that reflected the quiet passing days. The furnishings were humble, but there was something warm about it, something comforting. Adam had been there for him through everything. He was the one who took Dee in when he was at his lowest, the one who had never given up hope of finding Tieu Huyen. Adam was the only person Dee truly trusted anymore. As Day sat silently at the small table, he could smell the comforting aroma of mushroom soup drifting from the kitchen. His mind, though, was a million miles away, still lost in the memories of Tieu Huyen. He couldn't shake the image of her face, the sound of her laugh, or the way she had looked at him with hope. Every part of him still clung to the idea of finding her again. Adam walked over his hand, gently landing on Dee's shoulder. His voice was warm, filled with concern. "You've been out all day. You must be exhausted. Any news on Tieu Huyen?" Day looked up, his eyes bloodshot from exhaustion and hopelessness. He shook his head slowly. "I've been everywhere. I've asked everyone I could find, but no one has seen her. Everywhere I go, I just get the same empty answers." They all shake their heads and turn away. Adam sat down across from him, his gaze understanding. He knew that the pain Dee was carrying wasn't just physical fatigue. It was a deep emotional ache that went far beyond just missing someone. He could feel it too, the weight of it all. "Dee," Adam said softly, "you can't give up now. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, eventually we'll find her. I'll be right here with you every step of the way." Dee looked into Adam's eyes, and for the first time all day, he saw a flicker of hope. Adam's words, though simple, carried the weight of true friendship and loyalty. It was the kind of support Dee hadn't realized he needed until now. "Are you really going to come with me?" Dee asked, his voice hesitant, almost as if he couldn't quite believe that someone would still stand by him after all this time. Adam nodded, his smile gentle but reassuring. "Of course. I'm not just doing this because we're friends. I believe that love and persistence will guide us to her. No matter how tough it gets, we'll get through it together. For the first time in what felt like forever, a sense of relief washed over Dee. It was subtle, but it was there. A change in the air like a small light breaking through a dark storm. Their laughter, though quiet, filled the room, not out of joy, but out of mutual understanding and the bond of true friendship. They sat together at the table, sharing a simple meal, a meal that felt like more than just food. It was a meal of shared pain, hope, and a deep, unspoken love. That night, despite the silence that settled between them, Dee felt a warmth he hadn't realized he was missing. Adam's presence reminded him that he wasn't alone in this, that he didn't have to carry this burden by himself. The hope that had almost faded was now rekindled. Tieu Huyen wasn't just a memory or a lost chapter in his life. She was still out there, and he would find her. And this time, he wouldn't have to do it alone. Dee finished his meal, his heart lighter than it had been all day. Tomorrow, he would continue his search. But now, he had the strength to keep going, knowing that Adam was with him. Together, they would find Tieu Huyen, no matter how far they had to go or how long it took. Because sometimes, all you need is the right person by your side to keep pushing forward. Tieu Huyen's house was small, simple, and far from perfect, but within those walls was a powerful sense of hope. The rough walls, made from large bamboo poles, seemed to be holding up the weight of the world as the monsoon rains soaked the ground, making everything damp. But Tieu Huyen didn't mind. She kept pushing forward, using every piece of bamboo she could find to shield her home from the relentless rain. Every swing of the hammer, every nail she drove in brought her just a little closer to her dream home. Her daughter Maya had grown so much. Tieu Huyen often wondered if she was doing enough to build a better future for her little girl, one that was full of opportunities and love, something Tieu Huyen herself had never had. The little bed she had built for Maya was finally finished, and it stood proudly in the corner of the room. She looked at it with a sense of pride. It was more than just a piece of furniture. It was a gift from Maya, a place to call her own, a warm corner in their humble home. As sweat dripped down her face, Tieu Huyen didn't feel tired. Her thoughts were focused on Maya, on the future she hoped to give her daughter, and no matter how difficult it got, she was determined not to let Maya want for love or care. Maya ran over to her, concern filling her small face when she saw how tired her mother looked. The little girl wrapped her arms around Tieu Huyen and said softly, "Mom, if you're tired, you should rest. I love you." Tieu Huyen's heart melted. She looked at Maya, and in that moment, she felt an overwhelming wave of love and gratitude. These were the precious moments she had been waiting for, the moments that made everything worth it. But beneath the love, she felt there was always a quiet, lingering worry. Maya was growing up, and as much as Tieu Huyen wanted to protect her, she knew her little girl needed more than just a mother's love. She needed friends, experiences, and opportunities to learn and grow. "Sweetheart," Tieu Huyen asked gently, "would you like to go to school with the other kids?" Her voice was soft, but it carried the weight of her concern. Maya looked up at her, her wide eyes filled with surprise, as if she'd never heard that question before. Without saying a word, she ran to her mother and hugged her tightly. "I want to stay with you," she whispered, her voice as soft and gentle as a summer breeze. Those words, innocent as they were, made Tieu Huyen's heart ache. As a mother, She knew that Maya needed more than just her presence. She needed to be part of the world, to grow, to learn, to experience all that life had to offer. But how could she let her go when everything still felt so uncertain, when their home was still a work in progress and her future was still unclear? Tieu Huyen gently stroked Maya's hair, her heart full of love and sorrow. "I promise, sweetie, I will never let you go without. I will do everything I can to make sure you have the chance to learn to play, to have a beautiful life. You will never have to worry about anything." Maya looked up at her mother, a soft smile crossing her face. Though she was too young to fully understand the hardships her mother had faced, the love between them was boundless. Tieu Huyen gazed into Maya's bright eyes and then turned back to the unfinished work. She knew her journey wasn't just about building a house. It was about building a future for Maya. A future where her daughter wouldn't have to face the same struggles Tieu Huyen had faced, a future where she could thrive, laugh, and be free from the burdens of worry. In that moment, despite the unfinished house, despite the many challenges still ahead, Tieu Huyen felt a deep sense of strength. With Maya by her side, she knew everything would come together. It might take time, it might take starting from scratch, but she believed with all her heart that they could build something beautiful together.